Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Legit vs. Budget. And this is a series where I take amazing, iconic dishes from around the world and show you guys how to make them much more traditionally, and then also kind of a budget or like hacked version that you can make at home so you don't feel left out if you don't have the proper tools and the ingredients and all that stuff. Today we're doing a cuisine I'm really excited about that I haven't had much exposure to, which is Moroccan food. We were just in Spain for a little over a month, and Spain is right by Morocco. You can literally take like a hour or so ferry to get to Morocco. We didn't get to go to Morocco, but there's a lot of influence of Moroccan dishes there. So I got to try some authentic tagine, and I was blown away by the flavor. So I really wanted to figure out how to make it, and for the past couple weeks I've been studying it and learning a lot to show you guys how to make amazing Moroccan tagine. Tagine is a classic Moroccan dish, and Morocco is in North Africa, and it's a mostly Muslim country. So you'll see a lot of influence like from Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, like a lot of similar spices, which is really cool because you might already have some stuff at home like cumin and paprika and turmeric and ginger. So while there's some debate about when this dish was created, it dates back to a ruler named Harun al-Rashid. He was a late 8th century ruler. So we're talking 8th century from the Islamic Empire. So when people really think of tagine, they usually think of the dish, but it's actually the name of this pot that they used to cook it in. So you might say, I want to get lamb tagine. It's kind of synonymous with the dish, but it's also the name of this. And this is a tagine. It's made from clay. It's an earthenware clay pot. And basically what it does is you can cook on the bottom, and it circulates heat, circulates steam, so it keeps it nice and moist. Only a little bit of steam lets out, so it keeps your food really juicy. And also clay is one of the best ways to cook because it keeps all the heat very evenly distributed. If you're in Morocco or you have a store that sells them, they're probably pretty affordable. I got mine on Etsy. It was the cheapest one I could find to get delivered here, 70 bucks. So I wanted to see, and I'll show you guys a little later in the video, a hacked version that I'm trying to figure out to make right now so you can save some money. But also this tagine is amazing. It will last you forever. You have to make sure when you buy it that you season it. There'll be some instructions with that. And then when you're cooking with it, it's very important not to put too much heat in this thing. So I actually have a diffuser mat on the bottom because it can crack. Same goes if you put it in your oven. You want to be careful about switching temperatures. If you put it in your oven, take it out and put it in cold water, it's going to crack. So be careful, but it makes amazing, tender food. Look at that. Oh, wow. So today we're going to be making 3 tagines. We're going to do more of a classic lamb tagine. We're going to do a really nice veggie tagine, and then a hacked chicken tagine. And whatever ingredients you have is great. Even if you just have like curry powder and you don't have all the spices, you can make something great. To me, what I love about studying more traditional food is everyone has their own way of doing it. So there's no one perfect recipe. So first up, let's make a classic lamb tagine. And if you don't have lamb, you can use beef, you can even use chicken. This marinade works for everything. But I got lamb, I got kind of different pieces. There's some rib meat, there's some thigh meat, there's different pieces, just kind of a lamb mix. So what I included in my lamb, of course, I have the lamb, I have cumin, paprika, turmeric, and ginger, salt and pepper, some garlic, which I'm going to grate, some onions. You can either grate the onions or I slice them, and I also dice them. Slice them and dice them, and I have a mixture of cilantro and parsley that's mixed together, some good olive oil, saffron water. If you don't have this, you can leave it out, but basically just take a few threads of saffron, like a little pinch of it, mix it in some warm water, let that sit. We're gonna mix that into the marinade. It's gonna add an amazing flavor. So this you'll see in some recipes and some you won't, but I took dried prunes, dried apricots, and dried golden raisins. And what you do is you actually cook them in some water with some honey and cinnamon, and you make this like really thick syrup, and then you pour that over the top at the end, and it just adds this incredible sweetness. To make your marinade, which is called charmoula, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, I do apologize, but this is a great all-purpose marinade which we're going to use in all the dishes. To a bowl, or to your tagine if you want, add some oil, your cilantro and parsley mixture, throw in your spices, the cumin, paprika, turmeric, and ginger, little saffron water, not all of it, just a couple tablespoons, some salt and pepper, grated garlic, and mix that around. And then just mix your lamb in there and just keep mixing it around until it just looks so beautiful. You see it and you're like, this is amazing. And then just put it in the fridge overnight, at least minimum of 1 hour. Once it's been nice and marinated, you get your diffuser pot on, you put the bottom of the tagine down, and then you add some olive oil, get it to like a nice, kind of medium heat. You never want to blast this stuff. You want to have it on kind of like a medium heat to start. And then just start sauteing your lamb in that olive oil. Once you've kind of browned that up just a little bit, you can add in your onions and just kind of mix that around for a little bit. It's doing its thing. So once the onions have cooked with the lamb, I ended up, I forgot to add the tomato, which you could add right then. I added that a little bit later, but I just added like a little bit of water just to help kind of steam it. and then put the lid on, put it to like medium low, and then just let it cook for like 45 minutes. You can every once in a while open it and kind of like baste the liquid over it if you want, but just let that cook until the lamb gets super tender. So once you pull off the lid and you're like, oh, it's amazing, and the lamb is really tender, then what you want to do is just pour in some of that dried fruit. You don't have to use all of it, but just kind of mix it around in a little bit of syrup and just let it cook, lid off, just to evaporate a lot of that liquid. And you could, of course, if you feel like good about it, you could end it right now, but I kind of let it cook for about 10 or 15 more minutes and just sort of simmered out.
Finish it off with some chopped almonds, more greenish. Boom, fully tender. So I didn't have any preserved lemon. I'm just gonna squeeze a little lemon on top. Optional, but lemon is delicious. Wow. I've never had anything like that before. Never have lamb with the fruit. It's so good.
So couscous is this tiny little circular, almost pastas, and they're like these little tiny balls, like rugged balls. And there's different ways to cook them, but it's actually made from coarse semolina flour, so it's actually not that hard to make it yourself. And I realized there's about 4 different ways to cook couscous. There's the really lazy way, which is basically just putting it, in some boiling water, mixing it around, and that's most people, they do that. But what happens is a lot of starch is released and it gets kind of like sticky, and the whole process of making couscous is making it really fluffy. So the really traditional way is they make it by hand, and once they have the couscous, they actually steam it over a pot of like amazingly fragrant liquid, and they might do like a stock with different aromatics in there, and they steam it for an hour, and they take it off, and they fluff it, and they steam it again, and they add butter, and it's like this 2-hour process to make it. Now I found a way that is actually much more simple, but still really delicious and kind of gets you that fluffiness. What you want to do is measure out equal parts couscous to boiling water. And you can add a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil if you want to the couscous, kind of mix that together, and then pour your boiling water over it and then cover that. You kind of mix it together and cover it for 10 minutes exactly. When that's done, lift it up and then just put it into a bowl and kind of fluff it. And all you're doing is you're just sort of fluffing it and like making it really fluffy. You don't want to press it too much, but kind of fluff with your hands and a fork. If you want, you can add in some butter or ghee or something. I threw a little bit in there, and it's going to be really fluffy and really delicious. If you want to make it by hand too, all you need is coarse semolina flour, and you actually just mix this with some water very lightly, and it starts to form these little balls of couscous. It's actually really simple, but then it takes a while because you're starting to steam it and everything. So you can give that a try if you want, but I want to give you guys more of a hack, more of a simplified way. But couscous is amazing. Like I said, it's made from flour, really light, and it goes so well with the tagine. When I ate with the lamb, it's like, it's hard to explain how good it is. Just a quick note, for anyone that absolutely loves eating as much as I do, but sometimes struggles with the emotional side of eating and body image and things like that, I know I certainly have. I actually just recorded a podcast, which you can listen to below, all about emotional eating issues, body image issues, and some of the things that you can do to overcome them and kind of take charge of your own health and feel fan-freaking-tastic. Back to the recipe. Let's talk about our veggie tagine. Woo! For the veggie tagine, sometimes you'll see this like a 7 veggie with like lamb, so you could do a mixture of meat. So use whatever veggies you have, but a lot of times you'll see things like sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, green beans. I have some chickpeas, of course onions, tomato, garlic is very popular, cauliflower, red pepper. So what I ended up doing was I wanted to make 2 tagines. I wanted to do a chicken one that was going to be hacked and the veggie one. So I made a marinade for both of them. So I made this big marinade of the charmoula, which is basically the same thing I did for the lamb. The only difference was that I added some sea salt and lemon zest. And the reason I did that was because usually preserved lemon is a big ingredient in Morocco, and I could not find it, and it's really used in a lot of tagines. So it's kind of like a hacked way. So it will save you some money, but if you have preserved lemon, you can mix the pulp into that marinade and also cook with the rind of the lemon. So once I had my charmoula made for this, I got my tagine nice and hot, and I sauteed some onions in olive oil. Once they kind of got nice and sweated down, then I added in some tomatoes that were canned, like diced canned, or you can use grated. Once I cooked that down for a few more minutes, throw in your charmoula, and just like you'll see the colors change and the smell is gonna be amazing. Just kind of hit you and like, oh, here we go, have a party. Cook that for a bit, toss in some chickpeas, and then I just started building this amazing volcanic mound of delicious veggies. So I put the cauliflower down, and then I took veggies one by one and kind of went around and built like this little moat fort. It just looks really cool. Green beans were last, top with some green beans. And at that point, all you want to do is just pour over the rest of your marinade, kind of spoon that over. Make sure it comes to a boil, and then just put the top on, and you're just going to simmer that for a long time. So while that's cooking, it might cook for about 45 minutes on like a medium low to low. You're gonna see a lot of liquid, and you can use that liquid just to baste this. And we're gonna serve it probably at the end with a little bit of lemon, but just kind of give it a baste every once in a while and kind of pour, make sure all the vegetables are having love and making sweet magic together. Look at that. See how we're looking here? Woo! And you'll know it's pretty much done when the hardest vegetables are tender. So if I take a fork through the potato, oh yeah, that's the good stuff. Now just to cook out a little bit of that liquid, I mean the sauce is gonna be amazing, you can taste it. That is a heck of a broth. So once that's just about done, you take off the lid and then you can just kind of simmer it for a few more minutes to get out some of the excess liquid. At that point, if you want, you can add olives. Some tagines have olives, or you could do your dried fruit mix, you could do some apricots, whatever you like. And then just serve that with some couscous or some Moroccan bread, which I'm not showing in this video, but you know, you could use pita as a substitute, but they have some really amazing different flatbreads that they serve it with sometimes. Oh my God. Even though all these ingredients, for the most part of things I've tried, when they come together, maybe with the couscous, it's like anything I've ever had. For our final hacked sort of budget version of tagine, I ended up going to Home Depot. I'm at Home Depot right now trying to figure out if there's a budget way to make a tagine. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I just found these pots, terracotta pots made from clay. I'll have to season them. And I got the bottom, so check this out. Like a tagine to me. Again, I don't know if it's gonna work. So I've been working on this hacked version of a tagine. I don't know if it's gonna work. There are other ways to do it, but I actually got this garden flower pot here with the top, and it cost me about $7, so about 1/10 the price of the tagine that I ordered on Etsy. And I had to cure this, so I soaked it in water for 2 hours. Then I rubbed it in some olive oil. I baked it in the oven for 2 hours at 350. Took it out, let it cool. Soaked it in water again. Rubbed the olive oil on here and inside here, and then I baked it again at 425. Now the important thing is to make sure you start with a cold oven, put it in, and bring it up to temperature, and I let it sit. And that goes for the 350 and the 425, because this is ceramic, you don't want it to break. It's clay. As long as there's no lead in here, it should be safe. People have been using clay to cook for years. Now it should be seasoned in theory. I'm gonna try to do tagine. A lot of people do tagine in the oven, so I'm gonna try to make this one super simple for you. And of course, if you did not have this, you could also make this dish in a pan. It's not a big deal. It will still be delicious if you're using the same flavors, but this sort of hacked tagine, hopefully it will work. Actually, because I don't have my diffuser mat, I'm already using for the veggie one, I thought it'd be fun to just do one in the oven. A lot of people cook tagine just straight in the oven. And I've got my chicken that's been marinated. I'm just gonna place it down, put some olive oil on here. Boom, ba-da-doom. Those legs, I kind of cut the pieces up in chunks. Some onion. There's already garlic and all the spices in the marinade. Cover that with the onion. Put the top on, which is a little small, but it should fit there nicely. And there's a big hole here, and I only want a little bit of steam to come out, so I'm actually just putting this on top of it. I'm not gonna put it on tight, but that way some steam will come out. Throw it in the oven, bring it up to about 400, and we'll see what happens. So it's been about 45 minutes on the chicken. I haven't checked it yet. I was kind of doing a set it and forget it method, but I kind of want to just see what's going on here. See if we're going to have any luck. Oh wow, look at that. Give it a taste. Oh yeah. Oh man. Oh. That's really good. It's actually done. It's like perfect. Couldn't have come out at a more perfect time. Careful, sweetheart. One thing I want to do, I got it on the heat now. This is optional, but I want to add my apricots, dried prunes. There's something about that with the sweetness. It's too good. Just a little color. Oh wow! So this tagine was cooked in a flower pot for $7, and the chicken looks amazing. As always, I like to add lemon. Tenderness, the way the tagine cooks. I mean, this is our hacked tagine. I honestly didn't think it was gonna work. It's amazing. Chicken's super tender. I maybe cooked a tiny bit over. It's okay because it's thigh, so it's a little forgiving. 3 amazing tagines.
That's crazy. On a flower pot.
Flower pot. No effort. We just like threw it in there.
That's so good. Would you just treat this guy like a cast iron? Like skillet pretty much?
That's kind of the idea. You're seasoning it, like a cast iron. Yeah,
Flavor's
so
getting in all
same deal. Yeah, you wouldn't get soap on it. If you're from Morocco, your food is amazing. Thank you for like just allowing me to, even watching this video, allowing me to cook this food, which I may have butchered, but I feel like everything I've studied and researched, I feel like I've done a pretty damn good job. Get in the kitchen, cook something delicious.
3 in the afternoon.